Since its inception in 2019, AEW has emerged as a genuine alternative for both wrestling fans and wrestlers alike. The company has been the most significant competitor to WWE since WCW's closure. Much like the Monday Night Wars era, we've witnessed numerous former WWE stars transition to AEW, including Jon Moxley. Many ex-WWE talents have reinvented themselves in All Elite Wrestling, achieving even greater success than they did in WWE. However, the wrestlers featured in this video have not had such fortune. Starting with number 10, Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy debuted in NXT in late 2013, primarily working as a tag team wrestler during his initial years in WWE. He found some success alongside his partner Wesley Blake, with the duo winning the NXT Tag Team titles, marking Murphy as the first Australian to hold gold in WWE. He also got engaged to Alexa Bliss, which, while not a championship, is still a significant achievement. Murphy later moved to the Cruiserweight division, where a career highlight saw him win the Cruiserweight title in front of 70,000 fans in his home country at Super Showdown 2018. Things improved further as he teamed up with Seth Rollins, capturing the Raw Tag Team titles. Another notable main roster moment was his feud with Rey Mysterio, which included a love storyline with Mysterio's daughter, Aaliyah. WWE seemed to be investing in Murphy, culminating in a victory over Seth Rollins in November 2020. However, this push abruptly ended, with Murphy's final WWE match occurring only months later in the 2021 Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Fans saw Murphy's untapped potential, and so did AEW and its owner, Tony Khan. In early 2022, Buddy Murphy signed with AEW, now competing as Buddy Matthews. Though it seemed promising initially, it has been underwhelming. Unlike his WWE tenure, Murphy hasn't had meaningful singles feuds in AEW. He debuted in the House of Black faction but is the least featured member, rarely speaking on TV and mostly competing in the Trios division. Despite the House of Black winning the World Trios title and having a good run with the belts, Matthews hasn't stood out as he did in WWE. With his real-life fiancée Rhea Ripley currently a top star in WWE, it's not hard to imagine he'll return to his former company when possible. Number 9, Aleister Black. Speaking of the House of Black, another member who isn't experiencing the same success as in WWE is the group's leader, Malachi Black, formerly Aleister Black in WWE. His pre-AEW accomplishments are noteworthy: 2017 NXT Male Competitor of the Year, 2017 NXT Breakout Star of the Year, 2019 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winner, and former NXT champion. Though his main roster run in WWE didn't go as well, he maintained a 36-match winning streak after debuting, defeating notable names like Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles. Unfortunately, this didn't lead to much, and Black was released in June 2021. Unlike most WWE wrestlers who have a 90-day no-compete clause, Black had a unique contract, debuting in AEW just a month later as Malachi Black. Initially, he received a big push, immediately feuding with Cody Rhodes and defeating him twice. But after the Cody feud, Black's momentum waned, and he hasn't been featured as prominently as in WWE. As a singles wrestler, Malachi Black isn't positioned as a top talent, and his time in AEW has been inconsistent, with no significant singles wins in ages. Like Buddy Murphy, it's not hard to envision Black leaving AEW to rejoin his wife, Zelina Vega, back in WWE. Number 8, Jack Swagger. After losing the World Heavyweight Championship, the All-American never quite regained the heights of his early WWE career. Thus, it's fair to say that the man once known as Jack Swagger is unlikely to win a singles title in AEW. During his over 8-year WWE run, Swagger competed in multiple WrestleManias, popularized the "We the People" chant, formed a notable tag team with Cesaro, and had a significant rivalry with Alberto Del Rio. However, by the end of his WWE career, the company had moved on from Swagger. When he joined AEW, there seemed to be potential for a comeback. Using his real name, Jake Hager, he made a surprise debut at the end of the first Dynamite episode, joining Chris Jericho's Inner Circle. Hager's role was primarily as the group's enforcer, though he occasionally competed in bigger matches against opponents like Jon Moxley. For the most part, Jake Hager has been treated as a joke in AEW, falling further into the background in the Jericho Appreciation Society and rarely securing substantial wins. Over the past few years, Hager's most notable moment involved a feud over a purple hat, a letdown for a legitimate MMA athlete and former world champion. Number 7, Keith Lee. Keith Lee's main roster run in WWE didn't go well, and his time in AEW hasn't fared much better. Before WWE, Lee was an independent standout for years, eventually signing with WWE in 2018. A career highlight occurred at the 2019 Survivor Series when Lee eliminated Seth Rollins and was the second-to-last competitor, losing only to Roman Reigns. Lee also held the North American Championship and later the NXT Championship. However, his main roster run was brief and underwhelming, culminating in a feud with Randy Orton before being released. Lee debuted in AEW 3 months later, initially seen as a major signing. Despite holding the tag team titles with Swerve Strickland, Lee hasn't won any singles gold, often tagging with random partners. His most notable feud in AEW might have been against Shane Taylor, which didn't even take place in AEW but in Ring of Honor. AEW seems unsure of how to utilize Keith Lee, and even his breakup with Swerve never led to a payoff match. While injuries have hindered his AEW run, Lee isn't treated as a major attraction like he was in NXT. Though he might turn things around, it's not looking likely. Number 6, Rusev. Out of all the wrestlers who transitioned from WWE to AEW, perhaps none have been used as confusingly as Miro, formerly known as Rusev in WWE. While never a top star, Rusev often competed in big matches, facing former heavyweight champions like Mark Henry and Big Show, eventually leading to a match against John Cena at WrestleMania 31 for the US title. Though he lost, Rusev's entrance on a tank remains one of the coolest WrestleMania moments. Despite this, Rusev wasn't always used well in WWE, with fans likely wanting to forget his over-the-top love storylines with Lana, Dolph Ziggler, Summer Rae, and Bobby Lashley. Despite these missteps, Rusev was a featured wrestler on TV, with the popular Rusev Day character. After being released, Rusev rebranded as Miro and debuted in AEW. Initially, he was oddly paired with Kip Sabian as the Best Man, which felt like a demotion for a former WWE star. After the team split, Miro won the TNT Championship, seemingly poised to become the main event star fans had hoped for. However, after losing the title to Sammy Guevara, Miro has done little of note, wrestling only 11 televised matches from January 2022 to April 2024. After a few years in AEW, it's unlikely he'll reach the heights of Rusev Day again. Number 5, John Morrison. The man of many names, best known as John Morrison during his lengthy WWE run, became an ECW World Champion, a 3-time Intercontinental Champion, and held Tag Team Gold 6 times. While not a main event star, Morrison was consistently featured in WWE. In AEW, he hasn't found similar success. 6 months after leaving WWE, Morrison debuted in AEW, losing to Samoa Joe. After a few more matches, he disappeared, returning about a year later as Johnny TV and joining QT Marshall's QTV stable. This team saw little success and didn't last long. Since then, Johnny TV has mainly competed in AEW's Ring of Honor brand. Though his feud with Dalton Castle has been entertaining, Ring of Honor's smaller fan base means fewer people are seeing it. In WWE, Morrison was regularly featured, but in AEW, he's primarily a comedic wrestler with little chance of another major run. Number 4, Jeff Hardy. The charismatic enigma, a wrestling legend, has been one of the most popular wrestlers of the past 30 years, winning numerous singles and tag team titles in WWE. However, in AEW, he feels like just another wrestler. Initially, it seemed like a good fit. As an all-time great tag team wrestler, Hardy and his brother Matt could compete in major matches against top AEW teams like the Young Bucks and FTR and help elevate younger teams like Top Flight and The Acclaimed. However, none of that has really happened. When the Hardys did face bigger names, there was rarely any storyline support. Jeff didn't come into AEW under the best circumstances, having been let go from WWE after walking out of a tag team match and later being suspended from AEW for a DUI. Since his return, AEW hasn't trusted Hardy in a featured role, so he no longer feels special. Jeff's most notable singles match was losing to Jeff Jarrett in the Bizarre Texas Chainsaw Mass.